welcome to the show. This week we're getting started with a news story from the Scottish Daily Express. Swimmer hit by something big in Loch Ness in terrifying encounter, worse than coming up against a great white shark. Okay, so let's get into this. It says here, Duncan Roberts was taken on a charity swim and reckon anyone who... Typo, immediately. Right there in the Scottish Daily Express. Sorry about that, but we'll crack on. We'll soldier through. I can't really read. I'm super dyslexic, so maybe it's fine. Who knows? Not me, that's for sure. Failed English. Anyway, we don't have to focus on that. Let's crack on. Here we go. Duncan Roberts was taking on a charity swim and reckons anyone who enters the water is lying if they say they haven't thought about the monster. Very, very true. A wild swimmer has recounted his terrifying experience in the waters of Loch Ness, during which he was hit by something big coming from the depths. Australian daredevil Duncan Roberts reckons the encounter was scarier than coming up against a great white shark, as he described how he felt a big thud in the chest. Interesting, okay. So it has sparked speculation it may have been the mysterious monster Nessie, said to lurk beneath the waves of a world-famous loch. The 39-year-old was in Scotland for a charity challenge in the icy waters when the incident happened, reports the Daily Star. He said, but he's Australian, so I don't know, do I do the accent? Do I do the accent? I don't know what I'm doing here. He said, the depth and the darkness of that water plays tricks with your mind. There is some weird energy at play in the water. During my swim, I experienced a bump halfway across. It was something big. The water is pitch black and I had my eyes closed a lot of the time as the depth and darkness terrified me. So I didn't see anything. I just felt it. A big thud in the chest. Mr. Roberts said, it's creeping me out actually, the tone's changed. A little bit here. Mr. Robertson said he would have had second thoughts about taking the plunge if he had known what would happen. Yeah, for sure, me too, bud. Me too, Duncan. I just wouldn't have done it. Good on you for even doing it. Yeah, that's wild. Anyway, crazy. And he reckons everyone who has swum in the deepest parts of the loch is lying if they say they haven't thought about the monster. I was focused on getting across as quickly as possible, so the hit was a shock, he said. I was already nervous enough before the swim. If I knew something was going to bump into me halfway across, I would have definitely have been having second thoughts. That's a direct quote. Quote. It's a direct quote, everybody. Let's get quotes. Air quotes. Quotes. I can't speak. This podcasting might be a bad venture for me. We'll stick with it. Despite having taken on a number of physical challenges, including going around the 870 miles of Iceland on a skateboard, Mr. Roberts singled out the Highland Loch as one of the mentally toughest. Oh, cool. He added, I live in Australia and surf all the time, often with great white sharks. I was way more scared of getting in the Loch Ness water. Wow, okay. He also goes on to say the loch is beautiful, but definitely has a vibe about it that makes you freeze at the thought of swimming in it. It also has the sensation of pulling you under a little, I think because it's fresh water and so deep, and I was hoping to not have an encounter. The deep dark water alone is scary enough, let alone worrying about what else might lurk below. They were definitely moments of awe and beauty as I caught glimpses of the length of the loch while I took breaths during the swim, but I wanted to get to the other side. Okay. Well, that's kind of creepy. I don't know what I would do in that situation. I don't know if you can tell just by looking at me, but I'm not the most... And I don't want you guys to freak out there, but I'm not actually the most physically fit guy, so I don't think I have to worry about, swimming the Loch Ness, or very much swimming anyway, or ever been out in that area. But if I were to get in there, and you're in the middle of this vast... for those who haven't seen the loch, I'll chuck up an image right now on the video, but if not, go ahead, Google it. It's a big old pool of water. It's a big old There's loads of it. It's huge. It's a big old lock. It's massive. It's ginormous. The idea of being in the middle of that, looking out and feeling something in the murky, dark waters, knowing the history of the place, I'd probably just shut down. I'd probably just lay face down and inhale, and just that'd be the end of it. I think that'd probably be, that's in my mind the quickest way to get out of that horrendous situation. Maybe you guys are different. I don't know, but I would immediately give up. So that's me. That's what I would do. Interesting story. Yeah, great story. Glad he's okay. No idea what that could be. But yeah, good story, good fun. Okay, I'm gonna pop over to this next one. So I've got another story here, and this is all very focused in the UK. So this one comes from North Wales Live. And by the way, if you're listening to this from America or Canada or various, I can't think of a single other country, but I know there's definitely more than just those three. Yeah, you know, send me some articles from your local area if anything spooky is going on. I'd love to have a look see at that. So I'm always interested to hear about these things. So anyway, this story comes from, got ads. I've got ads, and no, I will not pay for premium. I will not pay the North Wales News for premium, okay? Get your ads away from me. I could just maybe do an ad blocker. This isn't content for the podcast. This isn't needed. Let's go. Let's get into, okay, let's go. Let's get into a new episode. There we go. High energy. Here we go. We like it. So, this is from North Wales News. Ghostly figure at Anglesey's haunted house on the hill left woman terrified. Ooh, very spooky. Okay, there's an image here, and immediately that's kind of weird. It's stuff like this that sort of I'm into. This kind of creeps me out a little bit. And yeah, you know, for all the sort of naysayers and non-believers out there, yes, of course Photoshop exists. It could be Photoshopped, for sure. But we all know it could be Photoshopped. But I don't know that it is. And I like to be optimistic with these things. I like to get creeped out, and this is a creepy image. And here it is. It's on the screen. Again, it's on the screen. So, you know, I'll post links to all of these as well. Just check out the description. There'll be links to all these articles. So, according to North Wales Live, a photo apparently showing the ghost of a woman in period clothing has been captured near Anglesey, in a house with a creepy reputation, occupying a rocky perch above. I'm so bad at pronouncing Welsh places and things. I don't want to say it because I don't want to make a fool of myself, but also I don't want to offend any Welsh listeners. So I'm just going to I'm just going to move past that, and I'm going to refer to it as Spooky House because that's what it's known as locally. So this house has a creepy reputation. It's known as Spooky House, or it's also known actually by locals as Haunted House on the Hill. And it does look really creepy. It does look like a really creepy place. Kind of creepy vibes. But yeah, there you go. So a photo apparently showing the ghost of a woman in period clothing has been captured near an Anglesey house. We call it Haunted House on the Hill. A grainy photo has now emerged of a woman seemingly walking away from the house and carrying an object in both hands. The person who took the photo was left terrified when belatedly realizing what she had captured. Some suspect a cook or a maid, as the figure appears to be wearing a long white skirt or apron. Attached to the main house when it was built was a servant's lodge with 2 bedrooms, a living room, and a kitchen. So yeah, okay. First of all, just pause because I can see why people are drawing that line and making that connection. It does look kind of like a way I get the apron vibes from the picture, and I can see why people would connect kind of like servants, because back in the day, and this is kind of a really weird little piece of information to know, but it's something that for whatever reason has stuck with me since the very first time I heard it. A lot of handmaidens and servants and maids would die in the line of duty, not about not about soldiers, but just like cooking stuff and ironing and things like that, because they had to wear these huge frocks. And obviously back then there were a lot of fires around, everything was cooked on a big stove, or they literally heated the house in one big fireplace, or they had to warm up the water by lighting fires under these big tubs and stuff like that. So there was a huge amount of deaths and things like that, and obviously that'd be a very traumatic way to go. So I kind of get why people in the paranormal community would make that connection. Others believe the figure is that of a man in a flat cap, a long white beard, and a white gown. Speculation over what it might be holding ranges from a basket or parcel to flowers, and even a baby. Oh, that's dark. Ghost baby. Very dark. Okay. The family of the woman who took the photo said she wished to stay anonymous as she's a social service manager. Her mother said she was visiting Anglesey on a walking holiday, which took them past the house. And this is a quote from the woman's mum, not the woman herself. But her mum says she took the picture of the house thinking it was a beautiful place, said her mum. Later that night, while her husband was sleeping, my daughter was looking through the pictures. She had taken on a mobile phone during the day. When she came across this particular photograph, she immediately called me as she didn't want to wake her husband. She was a little scared and spooked, having seen nothing when actually taking the photo. She forwarded the picture to me to ask for my thoughts. She then woke her husband anyway. Such was her fear at what she had captured. Her mother talks very, very eloquently. She forwarded the picture to me to ask for my thoughts. She then woke her husband anyway. Such was her fear at what she'd captured. Very eloquent mother. Very eloquent mummy. Oh, didn't like that I said that. Okay, so the house was built as a Holy Island holiday home for a wealthy Englishman called William Smellie. William Smellie, the old smell stuff. That can't be his name. But there we go. Smell it. That's what I'm saying. Smellie. Smellie. William Smellie. Said that too many times now. Said that a lot. Okay, we'll keep powering through. And thanks for listening. If you're still with me, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. So, completed in 1922, Mr. Smellie and wife Ethel moved there permanently a few years later. In 1978, it was inherited by their son-in-law, Sir Edward Jones, Lord Justice of Appeal in Northern Ireland. Oh, okay. Oh, that was his title. I thought that was like somebody else. Oh, he was the Lord Justice of Appeal. Don't know what that role is. Sounds super duper important. Good for Edward. Good for Edward. Hardworking guy, I assume. The house remains in the Jones family today. Oh, okay. Their son-in-law inherited instead of why not their daughter? That's odd. And it's still in their family. Okay. Anyway, its aloof location has led to comparisons with Norman Bates' house in the film Psycho. I can absolutely see that. Yes, 100%. When TV presenter Timmy Mallet visited the house, he tweeted a picture with the caption, "Is this the Psycho house? Spooky." Good old Timmy. However, there are a few, if any, legends and stories associated with the property. Briefly, it housed soldiers during the Second World War, and a few years ago it featured on the ITV crime drama Safe House. Unlike Holyhead, which boasts numerous hauntings, this house is mostly apparition-free. Some reports refer to the shade of a woman who drowned in the bay. She was apparently seen at the village's old cricket ground half a mile away, just below the house. And nearby in a bay lies a ghost, something referred to as the ghost cave. So we've got another quote here just to end the article on. It says, this is just from, it says one woman. So a woman has said this. We don't know who the woman is, but we know you said this and we appreciate you. We used to go here when I was little, said one woman. The house would always freak us out and it's right on the water. The lights would never be on, but in the water's reflection, every light was always on. A local man who lives nearby added, "It's haunted to shit. It's just haunted to shit." Good God. It's so haunted. Don't go there. It's haunted. But I'm going to leave you guys with AI Ghost Story of the Week. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you are watching and you'd like to see more, please go ahead and hit like and subscribe to YouTube. Go ahead and hit follow if you're following along, listening on any audio device. Yeah, it's been good. Have a wonderful, wonderful time. I will see you next week. Enjoy the Old Widow's Lantern.
In a small, forgotten village nestled between rolling hills and a dark, dense forest, there was an old, decaying house that everyone called the Widow's Cottage. No one had lived there for years, and no one dared to go near it, especially after dark. The townsfolk whispered about strange lights and eerie sounds that came from the house at night. But the most terrifying tale of all was the one about the widow herself. Many years ago, a woman named Liza lived in that cottage. She was a quiet, kind soul, known for her skill in weaving and making lanterns. She was married to a sailor named Thomas, a man she loved with all her heart. But one fateful winter, Thomas set out on a long voyage across the stormy seas, promising to return to Eliza before the first snow. Days turned to weeks and weeks to months, but Thomas never came back. Each night, Eliza would light a lantern and place it on her windowsill, hoping to guide her husband's ship back home. She would sit by the window for hours, her eyes fixed on the dark horizon, waiting for the sight of sails in the moonlight. But the seas were cruel, and the storm that swallowed Thomas's ship left no survivors. Heartbroken, Eliza refused to accept his death. She continued lighting her lantern every night, convinced that Thomas was still out there, lost and searching for her. As the years passed, her health deteriorated. Her hair turned silver. Her face withered, but her hope never faded. She died one cold November night, sitting in her chair by the window, her lantern flickering in the wind. The light extinguished just as her last breath left her body. After her death, strange things began to happen in the village. Every year, on the night of the first snowfall, the widow's cottage would come alive again. A faint golden light would appear in the window, and the villagers swore they could see the silhouette of an old woman sitting and waiting with her lantern, just as Eliza had done for so many years. Some said they could hear the faint sound of the sea in the wind, and others claimed that if you stood close enough, you could hear her whispering Thomas's name, calling him back to her.